You will marry this beggar tomorrow, or I throw you into the street." Aunt Folklore slammed the crumpled contract onto the table. Her finger jabbed toward the gate, where a thin man in faded clothes stood under the street lamp. Amara's hands trembled over her blue head wrap, the only inheritance from her mother. The man, Kofi, watched in silence, a wooden bracelet glinting on his wrist. His eyes gave nothing away. "Your mother married trash," Folklore hissed. "You will too. Have you ever been forced into a choice that felt like public humiliation, where strangers judged your worth by someone else's cruelty? This is one of those real-life stories rooted in African folklore, the kind of touching stories that remind us quiet dignity can shatter loud arrogance. Among the African stories and life stories we tell, this one asks, what would you do? 6 months earlier, Amara knelt beside her father's grave in Ikeja village. The red earth was still fresh. She had no money for a proper headstone, only a wooden cross she'd carved herself. Aunt Folklore arrived in a taxi, wearing gold earrings that caught the afternoon sun. She didn't cry. She counted. "Your father owed me 2 million naira, Folklore said. Hospital bills, school fees, the roof repair. He promised to pay before he died." Amara looked up. "I have 400,000 in savings from the market stall." "Not enough." Folklore lit a cigarette. "You'll come live with me. Work in my house until the debt is clear." Amara had no choice. By sunset, she'd packed her mother's blue head wrap and moved into Folklore's compound. 3 months later, the work was servitude. Amara cooked, cleaned, ran errands from dawn until midnight. Folklore paid her nothing. "Room and board," she said. "That's your wage." Then Chief Ogunlade came to dinner. He was 48, a property developer with 3 businesses and rings on every finger. Gold glinted when he gestured. His laugh was loud, performative. He looked at Amara the way men look at objects they plan to buy. "I want to marry your niece," he told Folklore over pepper soup. Amara's stomach turned. She set down the serving tray carefully. "Sir, I'm honored, but I'm not ready for marriage." Ogunlade's smile didn't falter, but his eyes went cold. "Not ready?" He leaned back. "Or not interested?" "I need time, sir." He stood, smoothed his agbada, and left without another word. 2 days later, Folklore called Amara into the parlor. Kofi stood outside the gate, thin, quiet, wearing a farmer's tunic and that wooden bracelet. "This is your husband," Folklore said. "You'll marry him Saturday." Amara's voice shook. "What are you talking about?" "Chief Ogunlade made me an offer. He'll clear your father's debt, all 2 million, if I arrange this marriage. He wants to teach you a lesson about pride. This is insane, insane." Folklore's voice rose. "I fed you, sheltered you. You refused a wealthy man because you think you're too good for him. Fine, marry a beggar instead." Kofi said nothing, just watched through the iron bars. Saturday morning. The market. Amara sold cassava under a canvas awning. The sun burned white overhead. Sweat soaked her blouse. She needed to work. The wedding was in 6 hours, but she couldn't afford to lose a day's income. Chief Ogunlade arrived in a convoy. 2 SUVs, bodyguards and sunglasses. He stepped out wearing white linen and Italian loafers. The crowd parted. "There she is." Ogunlade's voice boomed across the square. "The girl who refused me. A man with 3 businesses for a mosquito farmer." People stopped shopping. Vendors abandoned their stalls. Phones came out. Folklore appeared beside him, grinning. "This afternoon she marries a man who can't afford shoes." Let it be a lesson to proud girls everywhere. Laughter rippled through the crowd. Not everyone. Some of the older women whispered prayers. But enough people laughed to make Amara's face burn. Kofi stood 10 feet away in his simple tunic. The wooden bracelet caught the light. He didn't defend himself, didn't argue, just met Amara's eyes briefly, and something in his expression was unreadable. Not shame. Something else. Amara adjusted her blue head wrap, lifted her chin. Said nothing. She packed her cassava slowly, precisely, let the silence stretch, then walked past Ogunlade without a word. Behind her, someone muttered, "She's brave." Ogunlade's smile tightened. That evening, Kofi came to Folklore's compound. He carried a small basket of plantains, a traditional courting gift, humble but respectful. Amara met him at the gate. She hadn't wanted to, but something about the morning's humiliation made her curious. "Why did you agree to this?" she asked. Kofi set the basket down. His voice was quiet, careful. "I've seen you at the market. How you treat the children who can't pay. You give them fruit anyway. You've been watching me. Small village. Hard not to notice kindness. She looked at his wooden bracelet. Up close she could see the carvings. Intricate, impossibly detailed. Tiny buildings etched into the grain. Too refined for someone who couldn't afford shoes. Where did you get that bracelet? She asked. Kofi glanced at it. My mother made it. Before she died. She was talented. She was. He paused. I won't force anything, Amara. If you refuse this marriage, I'll walk away. And the debt? Your father's debts died with him. Legally, Folake can't collect from you. But she's betting you don't know that. Amara stared at him. No one had said that out loud before. Then why are you here? She whispered. Kofi met her eyes. Because I'd rather face trouble with someone honest than comfort with someone cruel. That same night. Folake's parlor. Chief Ogunlade poured champagne. Folake clinked her glass against his. To justice, Ogunlade said. To lessons learned, Folake replied. On the table between them sat a ledger. Ogunlade tapped it with one gold-ringed finger. After this wedding circus, I'm buying that plot near the market. The one her father owned. It's already in my name, Folake said. Forged his signature before he died. Ogunlade laughed. Smart woman. They didn't bother closing the curtains. Didn't lower their voices. Rich people rarely think anyone is watching, but in Ikeja village, walls are thin. And neighbors remember everything. The wedding hall, 20 guests. Cement floor. No decorations. A single ceiling fan that barely turned. Amara wore her mother's blue head wrap and a plain white dress. Kofi stood beside her in pressed cotton and dark trousers. The wooden bracelet on his wrist caught light from the window. The officiant rushed through the vows. He had 3 more ceremonies that day. Then came the yam ceremony. In Yoruba tradition, the bride's family presents 12 ceremonial yams, a symbol of fertility, provision, abundance. Folake entered carrying a rusty metal tray, 6 yams, all rotting. Black mold spreading across their skins. The smell hit immediately. Gasps rippled through the guests. An elderly woman whispered a prayer. Folake set the tray down. This is what beggars deserve. Chief Ogunlade sat in the back row smirking. Amara stared at the floor. Every instinct told her to run, but Kofi stepped forward. He picked up the tray, examined the yams calmly, then set it aside. From a cloth bag at his feet he placed 6 perfect yams on the table. Golden brown, firm, fresh. These are for my bride, he said quietly. The rotten ones I'll compost. Waste should not define a union. Silence, then someone clapped. A single pair of hands. An old woman near the window, others joined. Not everyone, but enough to shift the air. Folake's jaw tightened. Ogunlade stopped smiling. Kofi took Amara's hand. Shall we finish this? She nodded. The reception, no food, no music. Just lukewarm Zobo drink and awkward small talk. An elderly woman approached Amara near the door. 70, maybe older, wearing indigo-dyed cloth. I'm Yuande. I knew your mother. Amara's throat closed. You did? We wove cloth together. Yuande pressed a small pouch into her hand. She once told me, a woman's worth is not in her husband's wallet, but in her own backbone. You proved that today. Inside the pouch, seeds. Tiny, dark, hard as pebbles, African mahogany, Yuande said. They grow slowly, but their roots outlast storms. Plant them wherever you make your home. Then she disappeared into the crowd. Amara tucked the pouch into her pocket. Something solid. Something hers, Kofi's home, 1-room cottage. Mud brick walls. Corrugated iron roof. Solar lamp hanging from a nail, but it was clean. Swept floor. Thin mattress with folded blankets. A wooden chair. A shelf with farming manuals and cracked spine novels. Outside, a garden of tomatoes, peppers, okra. Kofi set down her bag. It's not much. She'd expected worse. Expected dirt and leaks. This was poor but dignified. Where will you sleep? I have a mat. I'll take the floor. You don't have to. I do. This marriage wasn't your choice. I won't make it harder. Amara sat on the bed. Exhaustion crashed over her. The yams for Lake's face. Ogunlade's smirk, she started to cry, quietly. Hands pressed to her face, Kofi stepped outside. She could hear him watering plants. Humming softly. That evening Kofi cooked. Jollof rice, fried plantain, grilled fish. He moved around the single burner with practiced ease. You cook? She asked. Lived alone for 2 years. Had to learn. Most men don't. My mother died when I was 16. I learned fast. The food was perfect. Smoky rice, caramelized plantain. After dinner, he laid out a woven mat on the floor near the door. Amara lay awake, staring at the ceiling. Moonlight through the window. Night insects. Distant dogs. She thought about running, taking her head wrap and disappearing. But something made her hesitate. The yams, the cooking, the way he slept by the door guarding. Her eyes drifted to the shelf. A cracked laptop under his mat, held together with tape. The screen flickered. Just a second. Go screensaver. She squinted. Letters, numbers, something corporate. Then darkness. She frowned. Started to ask, but Kofi was asleep tomorrow. She'd ask tomorrow, 2 weeks later. Amara went to reclaim her market stall, but another vendor occupied her spot. "Excuse me, this is my stall." The woman looked uncomfortable. "The official said I could have it." "He said you didn't renew." At the market office, a bored clerk barely looked up. "Your license was revoked. I paid." "I have the receipt." "The system shows no payment. Submit a written complaint." "Processing takes 6 to 8 weeks. Amara walked home, understanding Ogunlade had bought the clerk. When she told Kofi, he set down his hoe. "We'll share the farm work together." "I can't just—" "You're not begging. You're working." He met her eyes. "We're partners now." Something shifted in her chest, not love. "But respect, okay. Partners." They planted tomatoes side by side. For the first time since her father died, Amara felt solid ground beneath her feet. That night, a man in a suit came to the cottage. Expensive shoes. Leather briefcase. Amara was weeding. She froze. The man spoke to Kofi in low tones. "Sir, the board needs your approval on the Lagos contract." "Tell them I'm unavailable," Kofi said. "My wife and I are planting tomatoes." "But sir, I said no." The man left. Amara stared at Kofi. "Now what was that?" "Old business." "From before, Bassett, what kind of business?" "The kind that doesn't matter anymore." His wooden bracelet caught the light. She remembered the laptop. The flickering screen. She opened her mouth, then closed it. Later. For now they had tomatoes to plant. 4 weeks into the marriage, the routine had settled into something almost comfortable. Amara and Kofi worked the farm at dawn, weeded in silence, harvested together, ate simple meals, slept on opposite sides of the small room. They didn't talk much, but the silence wasn't hostile. Amara planted Yuande's mahogany seeds outside the cottage, 3 of them in a careful row. She watered them each morning. They hadn't sprouted yet, but the ritual mattered. One evening, Kofi came back from the village with news. "The Adeyemi family wants to buy our tomatoes wholesale. They're opening a restaurant in Lagos." Amara looked up from the cooking pot. "How much?" 50,000 naira for the first harvest, she blinked. That was more than she'd made in 3 months at the market. "They're serious?" I showed them the crop. They tested the quality. He paused. "You grow good tomatoes." Something almost like a smile crossed her face. "We grow them. Together." The 50,000 came through 2 weeks later. Amara held the cash in her hands, staring at it. "This is real money," she whispered. Kofi watched from the doorway. "It's yours. You earned it. Ours. Yours," he said firmly. "I don't need it," she frowned. Filed it away with all the other strange things about Kofi. The laptop, the businessman, the way he spoke, educated, careful. The village square meeting Chief Ogunlade called a community gathering. Mandatory attendance. He stood on a wooden platform, sweating in his expensive agbada. "I'm pleased to announce a development project. A new shopping complex on the land near the market. Jobs, progress, prosperity." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Amara's stomach turned. "Her father's plot," Ogunlade continued. "The land has been legally transferred to my company. Construction begins next month." An elder stood. "Whose land?" "It belonged to the late Mr. Okoye. His debts were assumed by his sister, who has generously sold the property." Folake sat in the front row, dripping in gold jewelry. She smiled. Amara felt Kofi's hand on her arm. A warning. "Not yet," but she couldn't stay silent. "That's my father's land," she said, standing. "He wanted it to go to me." Ogunlade's smile was patronizing. "Your father died in debt, child." Folake held legal claim. "The sale is complete." She forged his signature, gasps. People turned, Folklore stood, face flushed. How dare you? I heard you that night through thin walls. You signed his name after he died. That's fraud. Ogunlade laughed. You're accusing a respected businesswoman of forgery. Where's your proof? Amara had none. Not yet. Ogunlade turned to the crowd. This is what happens when poor people marry poor people. Desperation breeds delusion. My company has all legal documentation. If you have complaints, take them to court. He smiled. Though I doubt a vegetable farmer can afford a lawyer. Laughter. Not everyone, but enough. Kofi stood. We'll see. Something in his voice made Ogunlade's smile falter. That night, Amara couldn't sleep. She paced outside the cottage, furious and helpless. Kofi sat on the step watching her. I can't let them steal it, she said. We'll get it back. How? We can't afford a lawyer. We don't have proof. There are other ways, she stopped. What ways? Come inside. There's something I need to show you. He pulled the laptop from under his mat. Cracked screen. Electrical tape. It looked like garbage, but when he opened it, the machine hummed to life, fast, expensive, fast. The screen glowed. Files, spreadsheets, a company logo, KT Innovations. Amara stared. What is this? Kofi clicked through folders. Financial reports, contracts, board meeting minutes. My company, he said quietly. Farm logistics software. Started 8 years ago. Last year we cleared 500 million naira in revenue. The number didn't make sense. You're lying. I'm not. Then why are you here? Living in a mud hut. Why did you marry me? Kofi closed the laptop. My mother died 3 years ago. Cancer. I paid for the best treatment. None of it mattered. His voice cracked. After the funeral, I looked around. Business partners, investors. Half of them checked their phones during the eulogy. The other half networked in the parking lot. He walked to the window. Moonlight caught his wooden bracelet. I was surrounded by people who only cared about my money. So I left, came here, wanted to find someone who valued character over currency. Amara's hands shook. And you thought you'd test me? Not test, observe. That's the same thing. A test has a right answer. I was just looking for someone real. So you watched me get humiliated. Let Folklore throw rotting yams at our wedding? I wanted to stop it. Then why didn't you? Kofi turned. His eyes were red. Because I wanted to see if we could face it together. As equals, Amara laughed, bitter. Equals? You're a millionaire. I sell cassava. Money doesn't make us unequal. Dishonesty does. She grabbed her mother's head wrap. Tied it around her shoulders. I need to leave. Amara, I'm going to Yuande's house. I need time to think. How long? I don't know. She walked to the door, stopped. Did you ever actually care about me? Or was I just an experiment? Kofi's face crumpled. I care. God, I care so much it terrifies me. Then you should have trusted me with the truth. She left. Yuande's compound. The old woman didn't ask questions. Just made up a pallet. Brought tea. Sat beside her while she cried. He lied to me, Amara whispered. Did he? Yuande's hands worked the loom. Or did he just not tell you everything? That's the same. It's not. A lie is saying I'm poor when you're rich. Silence is waiting for the right moment. There's no right moment for that kind of secret. Maybe. Yuande paused. Your mother kept secrets too. Did you know that? Amara looked up. What do you mean? She was engaged to another man before your father. Wealthy family. Big wedding planned. She called it off 3 days before. Why? She overheard him telling his friends he was only marrying her for her family's land. She walked away. Chose a poor man who loved her truly. Yuande's hands never stopped moving. Thread, pattern, thread. Your father worked that land for 20 years to prove he deserved her. Amara wiped her eyes. What are you saying? Kofi worked that farm beside you for a month. Slept on the floor. Cooked meals. He didn't have to. Money can buy labor. It can't buy presents, but he should have told me. Yes, he should have. Yuande smiled sadly. Can you forgive someone who made a mistake out of fear rather than malice? 3 days later, Amara returned. Kofi was in the garden. The tomatoes had grown, lush, heavy with fruit. He'd been working. The neat rose. The careful staking. He looked up. His face was hollowed out. She hadn't been sleeping. I'm still angry, she said. Okay, I might be angry for a while. That's fair. She sat on the step. He stayed in the garden, 10 feet between them. You could have bought your way out of this entire situation. Paid Folklore, paid Ogunlade, made it disappear. I wanted to see if we could solve it together. I need you to understand, I didn't fall in love with your money. I'm not even sure I've fallen in love at all yet. But I respected the man who composted rotten yams, who cooked jollof rice, who slept on the floor. She met his eyes. That man I could trust. The billionaire who lied by omission? I don't know yet. Kofi removed his wooden bracelet, walked over, placed it in her hands. My mother carved this. See the buildings? Amara looked close. The tiny etchings, skylines, towers. She made it when I was 16, right before she died. She said, "A man who forgets where he came from will lose where he's going." He closed her fingers around it. "I'm giving it to you. There's a promise." No more silence. Full transparency. Amara held the bracelet, turned it in the light. "If we keep doing this partnership, I need you to tell me everything. The company, the plans, all of it. Deal." She placed the bracelet on his wrist. "Not yet. You keep it. When I'm ready to trust you completely, I'll ask for it again, and you'll give it freely." Okay, they sat in silence. Not comfortable, not healed, but something like a beginning. In the garden, one of Yewande's mahogany seeds had finally sprouted. A single green shoot pushing through red earth. 2 weeks after the reconciliation, Chief Ogunlade sent invitations across the village. Gold-embossed cards, land ownership celebration and development unveiling. Saturday at noon in the village square. It was a power move. A public coronation. Amara and Kofi received an invitation too, hand-delivered. The message was clear: come watch me win. Kofi held the card up to the light. "He's making a mistake." "What do you mean?" "Pride makes people careless. They stopped checking the exits. Over the past 2 weeks, Kofi had opened the company files, showed Amara everything, the contracts, the board structure, the legal team. She'd asked hard questions. He'd answered all of them. Trust had started to rebuild, not whole yet, but growing. "What are you planning?" she asked. Kofi smiled. "Justice. With witnesses, Saturday. Village Square, noon." The square had been transformed. Wooden stage, sound system, rows of plastic chairs, a champagne tower on a side table, absurd in the midday heat. Chief Ogunlade arrived in a convoy. 3 SUVs, bodyguards in black suits. He stepped out wearing white linen and gold, watch, rings, chain thick as rope. Folklore followed, dripping in jewelry. The crowd gathered. 200 people, maybe more, villagers, local officials, a journalist from the regional paper. Elders in traditional dress. Ogunlade took the stage, tapped the microphone. "Good afternoon, Ikeja. Today marks a new chapter. This shopping complex will put our village on the map." Applause, mostly from his employees, but some genuine clapping too. Behind him, an architect's rendering, glass storefronts, parking lots, modern design, all built on stolen land. Amara stood at the back wearing her mother's blue headwrap. Her stomach churned, then the crowd parted. Kofi walked through, but not the Kofi they knew. He wore a tailored navy suit, crisp white shirt, leather shoes. His wooden bracelet still on his wrist, the only familiar thing. Beside him, 2 people in business attire carrying leather briefcases. The crowd went silent. Whispers spread like fire. "Is that the farmer?" "Who is he?" "Look at that suit." Ogunlade's smile faltered. "The beggar wears borrowed clothes now?" Kofi climbed the stage steps, slowly. Every movement deliberate. He didn't ask. Just took the microphone from Ogunlade's hand. The silence stretched. 10 seconds, 20. People barely breathed. Then, "My name is Kofi Taiwo. I'm the founder and CEO of KT Innovations." Gasps. Phones came out. "Last year we cleared 500 million naira in revenue. I've been living in this village for 6 months, watching, listening, documenting." Ogunlade laughed, nervous now. "This is ridiculous, is it?" Kofi gestured to his assistants. "Show them." The woman opened her briefcase, pulled out a tablet, connected it to the sound system screen. Documents appeared, projected large land acquisition records, names, dates, amounts. "These are public records," Kofi said. "Filed with the Ministry of Lands. Anyone can request them." "We did. 3 weeks ago," he clicked through. "Bank transfers from Ogunlade's company to government accounts. 8 transactions. Labeled consulting fees, non-bribes," Kofi said flatly. "To officials who approved land seizures." The crowd pressed forward. Elders squinting at numbers. "Where did you—" "Those are private," Ogunlade's voice cracked. Public record, Kofi's voice stayed level. Your company filed them. We just connected the dots. The male assistant stepped forward. Professional, calm. We also have testimony from 8 displaced families, all willing to go on record. Click. Another document, a death certificate, Mr. Okoye, dated February 12th, then a land transfer document. Same signature, but dated March 3rd, 3 weeks after his death. The crowd went silent. Ms. Folek signed her brother's name after he died, Kofi said. Forgery, fraud, criminal offense? Folek's face went white. You can't prove handwriting, she started. We already did. The male assistant held up a notarized report. 2 independent forensic experts. Both confirmed forgery. Charges have been filed. The crowd erupted. Voices overlapping, anger, shock. Amara stood frozen, watching Kofi dismantle them with paper and facts. No shouting, no violence, just truth. Ogunlade's bodyguards shifted nervously. This is slander. Ogunlade shouted. I'll sue. You're welcome to try. Kofi's voice never rose. I have 12 lawyers. How many do you have? Silence. Then Kofi removed his wooden bracelet, held it up to the light. The carvings caught the sun. Tiny buildings, intricate detail. My mother made this before she died. West African ebony, hand-carved, rare. He handed it to the female assistant. She examined it carefully, then typed something on her tablet. Showed the screen to the crowd. Evaluation, a report from a Lagos auction house, date-stamped official. Letterhead, estimated value 20 million naira, she read. Aloud gasps. The number hung in the air, 20 million. More than most would see in a lifetime. My mother came from nothing, Kofi said quietly. She taught me that wealth means nothing if you use it to crush people. He looked at Ogunlade. You forgot that. Folake broke. She lunged at Amara, pushing through the crowd. This is your fault. You and your... Too fast. Her hand caught the champagne tower. Glass exploded. Champagne sprayed. The tower collapsed, shattering crystal, foam spreading across the stage. Folake stumbled. Her jewelry scattered, and people saw a child picked up a gold chain. The paint flaked off in his fingers. Plastic underneath, another woman held up a diamond ring. Glass, cheap glass, the crowd murmured. Then laughed. Harsh, unforgiving, all that glitter, fake, performance. Lies. Folake stood there, champagne-soaked, surrounded by broken glass and exposed costume jewelry. She started to cry. Ugly, heaving sobs. A police vehicle pulled into the square. 2 officers. The male assistant handed them papers. Arrest warrants, Ms. Folake Okoye, Mr. Ogunlade. Charges detailed here. Ogunlade's bodyguard stepped aside. The officers read the charges. Applied handcuffs. The crowd watched in silence, phones recording everything. As they were led away, Ogunlade tried once more. I have connections. So do I, Kofi said. Mine are legal. The square quieted. Amara walked to the stage. She removed her blue head wrap, folded it carefully, placed it on the podium. This head wrap was my mother's, she said. Her voice carried. I wore it to remember her strength, to hold on to something when everything else was taken. She looked at the crowd. But I don't need it to prove my worth anymore. I've learned it from within. From standing up. From choosing the right partner. She turned to Kofi. He took her hand. An elder stood. The land will be returned to Miss Amara. The forged documents are void. As for future development, a community committee will review all proposals. No more backroom deals. Applause. Real this time. Loud and sustained. As the crowd dispersed, Yewande appeared, squeezed Amara's hand. Your mother would be proud. I hope so. I know so. Yewande glanced at Kofi. And this one sees you, really sees you. Amara watched Kofi talking to the elders, calm, respectful, using power to restore, not dominate. Yeah, she said softly. I think he does. The mahogany seeds had sprouted. Now the roots could grow deep that evening. Kofi and Amara sat outside their cottage. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and purple. The mahogany seedlings swayed in the breeze. You didn't have to give me back the land, she said. It was always yours. You could have kept it. Made a profit. Some things matter more than profit, she leaned back. I forgive you for hiding who you were, for testing me. You don't have to. I'm not done. Her voice was gentle but firm. I forgive you because I understand your fear. But if we continue this, no more surprises. Full transparency about the company, about decisions that affect us. No more surprises, Kofi agreed. Partners means equal say in everything. Even the money. Especially the money. He paused. I've been thinking. I can work remotely. We stay here. Build something real. Like what? A legal aid clinic. For people who get crushed by systems they don't understand. Amara smiled. I'd like that. 3 weeks later, a letter arrived. Prison envelope. Folklare's handwriting. Amara opened it outside near the mahogany seedlings. They'd grown, small but sturdy. Dear Amara, I'm sorry. I know those words mean nothing. I stole from you, humiliated you, used your father's memory as a weapon. I was drowning in debt and jealousy. Your father was the good one. I hated that. That's not an excuse. Just the truth. Please drop the charges. I'll pay back everything. Folak Amara read it twice. Then walked to the fire pit. She struck a match. Held the letter over the flame. Watched it curl and blacken. When it was ash, she scattered it around the mahogany trees. Kofi came out with tea. Watched but didn't speak. What does that mean? He finally asked. The past feeds the future. But it doesn't live there. You're not dropping the charges. No, forgiveness doesn't mean erasing consequences. She needs to face what she did. Make real restitution. Kofi handed her the tea. Sat beside her, she started humming. A hymn her mother used to sing, soft. No words. Just melody. After a while, you know what's strange? I thought I'd feel triumphant. But I just feel tired and ready for something new. That's growth. They drank their tea as the sun set. 6 weeks after the arrest, the village council met. Amara and Kofi attended. Folake pled guilty. Sentence: 6 months in prison, 5 years probation, full restitution through community service. The council voted unanimously. All land transactions must be publicly posted for 30 days. A community review board would verify documents. No more backroom deals, Kofi stood. KT Innovations will fund a legal aid clinic here in Ikeja. Free consultation for land disputes, debt claims, contract issues. We'll hire local lawyers and train community advocates. Applause, real and sustained. An elder approached Amara. Your father would have loved this. He always said the village needed to look after its own. Amara's throat tightened. He did. And you're carrying that forward. That night they walked through the farm. Tomatoes heavy on the vine. Do you miss it? She asked. Lagos, the boardrooms, sometimes. But I don't miss the loneliness. And here I get to plant tomatoes with my wife. That's not something money can buy. She took his hand. I think I'm falling in love with you. The real you. Not the farmer. Not the CEO, the person who does both. Kofi stopped. Turned to face her. I fell in love with you the day you packed your cassava in silence. When you chose dignity over defense. That was 3 months ago. A lot can change in 3 months, he kissed her forehead. Or maybe we just finally became who we were meant to be. They stood under the vast African sky. Stars emerging. Thousands of them. In the distance, the mahogany seedlings swayed. Growing slowly. Rooting deep, Amara thought about her mother. Her father. The long road that led here, and for the first time in years she felt peace. 6 months later, the cottage had changed. Solar panels on the roof now, electricity for a refrigerator, better lighting. But the simplicity remained. The wooden chair, the shelf of books, the garden that had grown from tomatoes to okra, peppers and greens. Amara ran the market co-op. 15 women vendors pooling resources. They'd reclaimed their stalls. Built something stronger together. Kofi worked remotely, laptop on the small table, video calls with Lagos twice a week. But most days he was at the legal aid clinic. 3 lawyers hired, 2 community advocates trained, 47 cases resolved in 6 months. The mahogany trees had grown waist-high. Their leaves rustled in the evening breeze, roots spreading deep. Aunt Folake completed her sentence. Moved to a different state. No contact. Amara heard she was working as a school clerk now, quieter, humbled. Chief Ogunlade's trial was scheduled for next month. 8 families would testify. His properties had been seized. His name, once feared, now meant greed. Elder Yuande visited weekly, teaching Amara traditional weaving. The patterns told stories, family history woven into fabric. The legal aid clinic had a waiting list. People came from neighboring villages. Land disputes, fraudulent contracts, Justice, once reserved for the wealthy, now accessible to everyone. One evening, Amara and Kofi sat on their porch. She wore her mother's blue head wrap again, not from necessity. But choice Kofi's wooden bracelet caught the sunset light. My mother used to say, "God honors the humble but humbles the proud." I finally understand. Kofi squeezed her hand. She'd be proud of you. Not because you married me, but because you stayed true to yourself. We did this together. In the distance, children played near the mahogany trees. Their laughter carried on the wind, not perfect, but better. This is one of those touching stories from African folklore, the kind of real-life stories that remind us quiet dignity defeats loud arrogance. Among the African stories and life stories we share, this one asks, what would you do in Amara's place? Have you witnessed similar injustice? Share your experiences in the comments. If this story moved you, subscribe for more African stories blending tradition with modern justice. Next week, a fisherman's daughter accused of theft uncovers coastal corruption. Don't miss it.